head up. Jalen Rose has joined the party, and let's talk about the two young superstars, Zion and Luka, head-to-head last night for the first time in their careers, and the stars were out to watch. Patrick Mahomes in the house, and early on, it's Luka on Zion, right in his face.
The first thing I learned about Luka last night, he has gray hair like Mike Greenberg.
Oh, yes, great coif.
That's what he usually leads with. And then there's Zion, who clearly struggled in his first ever back-to-backs, Jalen. You could tell the conditioning was a question.
Conditioning definitely is a question. Here's a guy that's 6'8", over 280 pounds. He's played in less than 20 NBA games, didn't have a full training camp. Yes, he's going to have fatigue at this point of the season.
He told his teammates he'd wake up in the second half, though, and that he did. A little bully ball, RJ.
Yeah, look, we could talk about conditioning, but look, he was able to dig a little bit deeper here. And like Jalen says, his conditioning will improve. You have to understand, this is December for him.
Mark Cuban can't believe what he's seeing. Meanwhile, he'll love this. Under a minute to go. Good game. Seth, where are you going to go for a bucket if you're the Mavs and you're down by one? How about Seth Curry in the corner?
How about the no-look pass by Luka, and knowing that Seth Curry, an elite shooter, is sitting there spotting up with corner spacing.
And then New Orleans. Now they're down 3, 10 seconds to go, and Jalen, they get the big three from Nicolo Melli.
There was a big-time out-of-bounds play. Normally you don't get this, especially on the same side, and he was able to square up and knock it down.
So to overtime we go. Zion didn't start the overtime. He would finish it, however, and you'll see him in the lane here. He would finish with 21 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. That one would tie it at 118, but at the end, it was too much Luka.
So for Zion Williamson, it's about bully ball, layups and dunks. For Luka Doncic, it's about skill. Dribble, pass, shooting, and dropping it off to Porzingis.
How about a 30-point triple-double for Luka in the showdown with Zion? And in overtime, the Mavericks take a
Physically,
big one.
I'm feeling fine right now. I think it was just one of those things where, Drew, Lonzo just kind of came to me and was like, are you ready to play? Because if you saw me in the second quarter, I think, I just kind of turned around and looked at Lonzo like, all right, like, I'm awake now because, they just came to me and said, like, it's time for you to wake up.
I think he's fine. We worry about him too freaking much, okay? He's fine. He's 19 years old. He'll be fine.
I'll tell you why I love that reaction from Alvin Gentry, even though it's the wrong mentality to have, is that he's trying to get his team in the playoffs. And he does after they just lost back-to-back nights, a terrible home loss to Minnesota, and now a crusher in overtime on the road against a good team. He does not want to be asked about his 19-year-old's condition.
Absolutely. And the thing that we can't overlook is that he's also trying to coach to keep his job. Anytime you have a young phenom like Zion Williamson, and then all of a sudden Lonzo Ball is making 7 threes in back-to-back games, he's been playing well, but you're not getting closer to your playoff goals, they're not going to look at those players. They're going to start looking at the coach. And he understands that. That's why he has a sense of urgency.
So before we get to Luka quickly and more on Zion, there was something that I just noticed there from Zion talking about Drew and talking about Lonzo getting into him a little bit. It feels like there is some young leadership on that team that is really special as a component to Zion.
Well, yeah, and it's so funny. Once you're in the league 3 or 4 years, like, I know that's not a vet by any league standard, but a rookie will look up to you. A rookie will look up to these guys and has been watching them play for multiple years. And so they're going to look to him and say, hey, we need you to pick it up. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. Are you ready? So I do view that leadership growing, and sometimes it happens just because you're a few years older than the younger player.
In the meantime, Seth, I would like you to take us where you went this morning in our meeting, and the comparison that you are drawing for Luka Doncic, which is about as high a level of praise as could possibly be imagined.
He's got a lot of Larry Bird in him. He's a physical guy with a high basketball IQ, a great feel for the game, could shoot the ball, makes the game easier for other people. I mean, to me, he's a point guard version of Larry Bird. And to me, it's real simple. The way he shoots the ball, the feel for the game, how he sees plays early, how he makes the game easier for other people. But more importantly, just the physicality of his game. He uses his size and his strength to absolutely pulverize guards. Now look, Larry Bird was a forward, but his feel for the game and the way he plays the game, 100%. He's got a lot of Larry Bird in him.
Jalen, Bird was 2 inches taller. Doncic, at the age of 21, is actually 10 pounds heavier now than Bird was when he played. What do you make of the comparison?
I like the comparison. I've used it as well. And their court awareness. Like, don't underestimate the fact he has 17 rebounds from the point guard spot. And he still is going to get you 10 dimes. And he's not getting you 10, 10, and 10 triple-doubles. He gave me 30-point triple-doubles. He's a clutch performer. He's making people around him better. And that step-back shot right there to the left, he has a signature shot very early in his career.
30, 17, and 10.
Correct.
Those are ungodly numbers. I know we've gotten numb because we've had LeBron James and because we've seen Russell Westbrook do this. But part of the reason why LeBron James is who he is, part of the reason why we gave Russell Westbrook earned an MVP is because those numbers are absurd. And so to be doing it at such a young age, dominating in that fashion, it's impressive.
He's got to be in the MVP conversation.
Oh, Luka gonna have a couple of seasons where he averaged a triple-double.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna
coming.
happen. He's next.
You know what I like about him, too, is he heard these conversations. Like, we've spent, and so has everyone, the last couple of days talking about Luka versus Zion, first time ever. Which guy would you rather have to start a team with? I had a feeling Zion might hear some of that. I think Luka played like he heard.
But the greatest thing about the league is we put up the strength of schedule for the Pelicans and said that they had the easiest.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Ja Morant in Memphis started to get a lot better playing basketball.
Yeah.
And LeBron showed up against Zion, and Luka showed up against Zion. The league ain't gonna make it easier for him.
Meanwhile, you want something to make you laugh?
Sure.
All right, did you see this? Joel Embiid was used as a clue.
Oh, I saw that.
He was on Jeopardy last night.
Perfect.
And as for the answer, just listen to this. 4. I enjoy watching Jeopardy. I like Jeopardy a lot.
I do too.
These are brilliant people. It never ceases to amaze me how little they know about sports. They never know anything about sports.
That's the ultimate reality check for every athlete and people that work in sports. That everybody ain't paying attention to box scores.
No.
Bill Walton needs to be on Jeopardy. He would actually kill Jeopardy because he knows more about nothing than anyone I've ever
Ready
met.
for this?
show would be off the air.
I've been on Celebrity Jeopardy before, and I won.
Well, let's go.
That's shocking.
And I was on Wheel of Fortune. And won there too.
Okay.
These guys.
How about Duncan Robinson drained 9 3-pointers in the Heat's win over the Magic? Seth, what's the Heat's ceiling in your mind?
They're the second best team in the East, I think, and they could potentially come out of the East. But this dude started in Division III.
Let's go.
Now he's one of the best shooters in the whole NBA. You get him a step in three, that dude is knocking it down. 9 threes. The Heat, second best team in the East.
There we go. Hey, Giannis and the Bucks, as RJ shakes his head a little bit about that comment. We'll get to that.
Bright
They're
eyes.
back on track after their loss to those Heat. RJ, will Milwaukee get 70 wins?
No, I don't think they're going to get 70 wins. I think they have such a lead. And to me, if you're not going to get the record, 70 wins is great. I think you need to start resting Giannis, not from the standpoint of not, he's had a lot of fourth quarters off, but I think you need to give him some nights where you're just like, hey, we've clinched the best record in the NBA. You can have half a night here.
Yeah, Giannis consistently plays so hard, too.
Yes.
He's putting a lot out there. The Bucks will look to keep marching on as they travel to Staples Center on Friday for a date with the Lakers. Speaking of those Lakers, you see it here. They have a gauntlet of a schedule in the near future. In addition to Milwaukee, they'll see the Clippers, the Rockets, the Nuggets, just to name a few. So it's a big stretch coming up for them, Seth. And it's going to be a lot of these teams that are in the postseason, RJ, as you just said. So what do you need to see from the Bucks against the Lakers and the Lakers against the Bucks in this game on Friday?
This is why you got Anthony Davis. This is like in the NBA, you look at your schedule in segments. All right, this is a segment I'm sure has been circled on the Lakers schedule saying this is a chance for us to make a statement. For us to make a statement, Anthony Davis has got to be a dominant player. He's got to actually go head to head with Giannis and meet him head on. He's got to be a guy that makes a difference, not a compliment, not Robin to Batman and LeBron James, but the focal point. That's why he came to LA to win a championship. This is his opportunity to send a statement that we're the best team in the NBA.
RJ, in these tough games for these teams against teams that they're going to see in the postseason, is there something extra to prove even in the regular season? Because you almost wanted to get in their heads a little bit when they see them down the road?
Yeah, and we've talked about this. Let's talk about like some postseason awards, like after season awards. If you want the Defensive Player of the Year, if you want the MVP, this is the stretch right here where Bron can make a claim for MVP. Hey, you want defensive MVP? If you're Anthony Davis, this is a stretch right here where if you're one of the most dominant guys on the floor in the defensive end, guarding Giannis, helping to shut down guys from the Clippers, all of a sudden that conversation starts to creep up on everybody's list. You can start separating yourself.
In this stretch that the Lakers have coming up that is so tough, what do you think their record looks like?
Again, you never know with the Lakers, and I say this, like they've had some bad losses to the Clippers. They've had some losses to the Bucks. I just think that for them, they need to focus on themselves and how they want to play. Greenberg talked about it. You want Anthony Davis to take that step up. You want him to be aggressive. This is why you brought him in. But ultimately, it's all going to be about how they mesh and how they play against these top teams.
So we just popped the schedule up here. You want to take a stab at what you think the Lakers do against those teams? At least
I
starting off?
think they go 6-2.
Okay.
I would choose 4-2, I should say, out of those 6 games.
4-2, and you saw what they start out with. Of course, the Bucks on Friday. You think that's a game that's winnable for them?
I think it's winnable, but I think the Bucks are going to win. In my opinion, I need to see it. I need to see the Lakers play better against the Clippers.
Anthony Davis is going to be dominant in this stretch.